We're in the 19th. This is now the longest game in innings and time in franchise history for the Blue Jays.
It beats a game that they had against the Los Angeles Angels back in 2005, where the winner of that game was actually Pete Walker, now the pitching coach for the Blue Jays. They also played 18 innings against Texas. That was last year. Aaron Loop was the winner in that game.
And that'll load the bases for Bautista. Bautista's 0 for 7. But how long can you keep him down?
I say
You can't.
I say first pitch, he's going to go up there swinging, looking to go hit the ball as deep as you can to get this running.
Infield is in.
It is Sportsfeld Storytime. We are taking you back to what we are considering. I think this is a fair assumption. The most disappointing team of our baseball fandom. This 2014 team, as we said in the last couple episodes, looked and felt like a contender at points in this year. They came out of the gate very hot. They had, they had big games against important rivals. They were pretty far up. They were 13 games over 500 at one point. They were looking like the team that, all the upgrades, the Jose Reyes deal, Mark Burley, Josh Johnson, all these deals, R.A. Dickey. It was looking like we were telling ourselves they needed 1 year to sort of figure out who they were. And then the second year, they were putting it together and they had made some small moves and they were going to do it. And then, as we discussed in previous episodes, the trade deadline came and went and the attitude really seemed to sour on this team. And we investigate now sort of the fallout. We are taking you back the crux, the axis on which this season tilts for us. And the single game that we are investigating tonight in this episode is a marathon against the Detroit Tigers, a 19-inning game on Sunday, August 10th at the Rogers Center in front of 46,126, the conclusion of a series against the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, this is a game that I watched in 2 different time zones.
That's unbelievable. 6 hours and 37 minutes for what it's worth.
I was, coincidentally enough, in PEI. And it was our last day. We were traveling. And the game, there was like a bunch of time to kill before the flight. So I was in the Delta Hotel of Charlottetown. In the bar, because if you've never been to Charlottetown on a Sunday, the town doesn't open till 1 o'clock. So there was nothing to do. So I was in the Delta Hotel in Charlottetown, and I was in the bar, and I said, the Blue Jays are kind of interesting this year. Obviously, I'd been following the whole time, but sat down with a beer and watched the beginning of this game. And I believe I left for the airport at the end of the 9th. And then got to the airport, and the game was still happening. And so I said, okay, I guess I'll find out what happens when I land. And I was not flying direct. I was stopping in Montreal on the way home, a place I love, as we know. And we got to Montreal, and I said, oh, the baseball game's still going. That's weird. So I ended up watching the last couple innings of this in an airport bar in Montreal airport. And this was pre We the North. This is pre, I guess it's post We the North, but pre anyone else in Canada caring about Toronto sports. And people in Montreal don't really care about the Blue Jays anyway, because they're still bitter assholes about the Expos, that team they didn't support, because it's our fault they left. But no one really cared. And then I yelled very loudly when Jose Bautista won this game. And I think I disturbed some people in the restaurant. So if you're listening and you're in that restaurant in Montreal airport, I'm sorry if I bothered you, but also you should have gone to Expos games. You had the chance.
Yes. Because my wife is a journalist, Jake, you and I, before this episode started, we ruminated, said, why in the world were there 46,126 people in the Rogers Center this day? And Jake, let's break this down, right? Back in the day, before they were a playoff team, what were the reasons there'd be that many fans at a Blue Jays game? It wasn't the home opener.
Oh, I know.
It wasn't a holiday. Why would there be that many?
There was something for free. People are getting something for free.
Replica Blue Jays batting practice hat day, August 10th, 20,000 free. hats. Whether that is the reason the park was packed, or as you said, they were a quasi-contender looking to make their name against, listen, a Detroit team who we forget was a very good team. They're 63-52. Basically, these two teams were tied. This is a 90-win Detroit team that finished first in the Central. It had been a playoff team the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that, all the way back to 2011. So they were on a run of being 5 straight years of being a division winner right before they would fall off the face of the earth. But it was a very good team, a bit of a rivalry, Jays Tigers historically. But yeah, it was a giveaway day. And boy, did those fans get their money's worth for their free hat.
I love this game for several reasons, let alone just the sheer chaos of it going 19 innings. I also love that this was basically the last good game this team played.
Mm-hmm.
This was like a team that sort of teased. We talked about this last week. Team that sort of teased us for a while. They started really hot and then kind of fell back to earth. And then they were like, you could tell, like in this August, they were like trying to make a run. They went on a bit of the last couple of games that they shouldn't have lost to Baltimore, and they're 3.5 back, 2.5 back to start August. They were 6 back going into this game of the division, so the wild card was very much still in play. And then it's funny, we're sitting here talking about how we decided to do this game because we want to talk about the disappointing team because we felt like we were going to have to link it to the 2021 team, and how we've now seen the one big crazy game, being the Oakland game, completely turned around the 2021 Blue Jays season. And this should have been the one big crazy game that completely turned around the 2014 Blue Jays season. But instead it did pretty much the exact opposite despite winning this game.
Yeah, they immediately lose 10 of 13. They immediately lose 4 straight. And you are correct. There are so many small things to love about this game. Some of the minutia, we'll get into the details in a minute, but some of the minutia of, there's things like Anthony Ghost pinch hits and then ends up taking 6 at-bats. Same with Yunenori Kawasaki. He pinch hits and has 6 at-bats. One of them, I think my favorite line, there's 2 great lines in this game. The first one is Melky Cabrera goes 3 for 5 and has 5 walks. He gets on base 8 times in this game and doesn't score a run. If you can believe that. And listen, you could have given me, I don't know, infinity guesses as to who started at DH in this game for the Jays. And I would have never, ever gotten to Nolan Reimold.
Judge Reimold, that's right.
He goes 0 for 7 with 5 strikeouts and 2 walks. Not a great day. You get 9 at-bats, you go 0 for, and you strike out 5 times. That's a rough one day.
We've got some other fun stuff from this game. Starting pitcher on the other side for the Detroit Tigers is one David Price.
Crazy.
And it's very funny as this game took place on August 10th, 2014. It's very funny to watch David Price here and then think where David Price would be 365 days from now.
Unbelievable.
Also, you have Rajay Davis starting in the outfield, in center field for the Tigers, who put up a nice 0 for 8 day with a walk. That's good stuff.
All those at bats, not going
to Miguel Cabrera went 3 for 9. Ezekiel Carrera also pinch hit and came into play center field for the Tigers in this game.
Marcus Stroman pinch runs in this game.
Eugenio Suarez, just a pinch hitter for the Tigers at this point in his career.
Wow.
Joba Chamberlain pitches an inning in this game.
The Jays draw 14 walks in this game. Somehow.
Damn. In 19 innings, that's not that impressive.
You're correct. The Jays only give up 5 walks on the other end. They would fall behind early. Mark Burley is on the mound for the Blue Jays. There is an error in the first inning, and it's an E6, which is charged to Steve Tolleson, who, if you've forgotten he existed, I do not blame you. But the Tigers are 3-0 before the first inning ends on JD Martinez, old rival, and Nick Castellanos with RBI singles. Really wild.
There's a deep drive for Castellanos.
So it's 3-0, and then JD Martinez doubles again in the third. It's 4-0. The Jays have to mount a comeback on this one because they go all the way down 5-0 through 4, and it's 5-0 headed into the 6th, if you can believe it.
This game should have, it had all the makings of the game that turns it around. It's the big comeback. It's a 19-inning game. It's a giveaway day, so people are in the building. in retrospect, it's actually truly unbelievable. This actually did the opposite. I can't believe it. I'd forgotten about that. It's hilarious.
By the field of things, it wears them out. And then, as you said, this is our last good game. Navarro scratches 2 back with a home run in the 6th. And then RBI single from Reyes and another from Melky score a pair in the 7th. And it's 5-4. He gets all the way to the 9th. We get all the way to the 9th with 2 outs.
Three strong from middle reliever Aaron Sanchez as well.
Flashes. You get all the way to the 9th with the Blue Jays down 1 with 2 out. Go singles to lead the inning off, and then Rasmus strikes out Munenori Kawasaki into the game. He lines out. So with 2 out and a runner on, well, go stealing bases out there. Anyway, it's a double play overturned, by the way.
That's right.
A challenge. Base. Gibby's big challenge overturns a play, moves everything around, and then Go scores from second on the play.
So if he could split Hunter, the right fielder, Carrera, the center fielder, that's a triple for Reyes.
He can hit it over their head. There's a line drive, base it into center. Here comes Ghost. They throw to the plate, not in time.
On a single from Jose Reyes to take us to extra innings, and that is just the beginning.
There is a whole other game to play.
It's a whole other game plus. There's another 10 innings to be played after.
I love the Gibby starting extra innings movement. You got Jose Bautista moves from right field to first base. Juan Francisco moves from first to third. And Anthony Ghost goes into the outfield. But Juan Francisco at third. Starting to realize why this team didn't make the playoffs.
Just had the exact same thought. I was like, oh, I get it now. Juan Francisco was an important piece of this. I get why they didn't go anywhere. It all makes sense in hindsight. At the time, listen, we were like, hey, Juan Francisco.
We were all sold on Juan Francisco. Then he struck out every at bat. And I was like, oh, okay.
He had a bunch of home runs right out of the beginning of the year. And then.
Yeah. And then everything else was a strikeout.
And maybe, 33-year-old Munenori Kawasaki being an 82-game player. Maybe that's
Brett Laurie hurt himself jumping into a cement pit, I think.
Yes, he did. That is very correct.
I actually don't know if that was the injury this year, but he definitely hurt from doing something, Brett Laurie.
Anyway, there was no ghost runner rule at this point, obviously. The Jays would go quietly in the 10th. They put a runner on in top of the 10th, but they go quietly. Another runner comes on as Dustin McGowan pitches in the 11th. They get a runner to second, and they shut that down. The Jays go 1-2-3 in the 11th. Once again, the Tigers get runners on in the 12th, but McGowan shuts it down, and Aaron Loop closes the door with runners on first and second. The Jays do threaten with 2 on and 2 out in the 12th, but it is Nolan Reimold to fly out as Juan Francisco walked.
Nolan Reimold.
Hard to believe.
Juan Francisco walked. That must be the first time in his career.
I know, crazy. Bottom of the 13th. The Jays load the bases for Jose Bautista. And he grounds out.
I love the win probability added in this game. It's all such massive swings.
Top of the 14th. Once again, runners on first and second for the Tigers. Chad Jenkins gets out of the jam, and he would stay in this game the rest of the way. Chad Jenkins takes over in the 14th, and pitches the rest of the way, which is wild.
Can you imagine? And this is not a defense of anybody, so everybody calm down. Can you imagine in 2021 if in a 19-inning game when they're in the thick of a wild card race in August, if Charlie put in I'm trying to think what the 2021 equivalent of Chad Jenkins is.
Just Trent Thornton. Don't think too hard about it.
Yeah, I feel like Chad Jenkins might have been better. But he's like, hey, pitched the last 6 innings.
You're right.
This one.
He did. Chad Jenkins had a 2.56 ERA. So maybe I'm being too harsh.
Letting anyone pitch the last 6 innings of a 19-inning game in 2021, the internet would explode.
Total madness. The Jays load the bases again in the 15th for Juan Francisco, and he grounds out. The Tigers load the bases in the top of the 16th for Torrey Hunter. And he grounds into a Sesame Street 1-2-3 double play. That
Torrey
is
Hunter, damn.
35% win probability change. Bottom of the 16th, the Jays put 2 on, and Kawasaki lines out. Bottom of the 17th, the Jays have runners on second and third, and Josh Tolley grounds out. Boy, oh boy. In the 18th, the Tigers put 2 on, and Torrey Hunter once again grounds out to first. In the top of the 19th, They get a runner on second, and Jenkins gets out of it with a strikeout. And then in the bottom of the 19th, finally 6.5 hours later, we get something finally happening. Kawasaki leads it off with a line drive to left center. Jose Reyes bunts. Sacrifice bunt in front of home. A bad throw moves Kawasaki to third, moving the Jays' win probability at the time to 94%.
I love that bunt and error is worth 23% win probability, which is like 3 times more than the actual win. I love baseball stats. It makes no sense.
And then riddle me this, Jake. I guess you're looking for the double play ball, but Muggy Cabrera gets intentionally walked to load the bases for Jose Bautista with nobody out.
Yet another intentional pass. Melky being walked again. Bautista. On deck. Melky has been given 2 intentional walks. And that'll load the bases for Bautista. Bautista's 0 for 7. But how long can you keep him down?
I say you can't.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and defend that one.
Not the move I would have made, but
it's the 19th. You're tired.
There it is. Game winner for Bautista. The Blue Jays walk off the Tigers for a second consecutive day.
The fans stayed around, and they were treated to a doozy. Slider down and away, and that'll do it. Put a lid on that one as Bautista crashes in Kawasaki. Ball game. What an afternoon of baseball here at Rogers Center.
They gain ground on the Orioles, they gain ground on the Yankees, and they win the series against the Tigers. First time they've had consecutive walk-off wins since 2006.
Sends him home happy. Single to deep right field. Kawasaki scores. Blue Jays win this one 6-5 in 6 hours and 37 minutes. The game that starts at 1:07 ends at 7:45? That's bananas.
It was a long day. It's a long day.
5 runs on 22 hits for the Tigers, 6 runs on 17 hits and 14 walks for the Blue Jays.
Jesus.
Wild. You'll never see anything like it. Not with the rules, the way they are, I'll tell you that much. I can't believe this used to happen, honestly.
I kind of miss it. Like, I hate the runner on second, but I do like that it eliminates like 25 inning games.
I don't hate it as much as I expected to.
I definitely don't like it, but I don't hate it. I like the 7-inning doubleheaders though. That should stay forever.
Yes, and they should always be on weekends, as I said yes, before.
Absolutely agree.
That would be, as you said, the last good vibe the 2014 Blue Jays had in the container. They would only hurt us the rest of the way, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was this kind of, as always, Jose Bautista was right. They didn't load up when they had the chance, as we talked about, and they paid for it. Well, they learned their lesson, I suppose. As
Casey Janssen said, must be nice to be one of those teams. The rest of the way, the Blue Jays would disappoint, quite frankly. This was their 63rd win. They would only win 20 more games. The rest of the way, they would go, what is that? That makes it 20 and 23 the rest of the way. So not a complete disaster, but you're under 500 the rest of the way when you're in a playoff rush. Not ever what you want.
And I believe there was like a win streak at the beginning of September when they were already out of it. So it kind of was a hollow 20 and 23.
That's right. I think they undo one of the bad runs. But again, as I said, they lose 10 of 12 right after this game. So the vibes on the floor, we will look at how they bounce back, what comes next. And listen, the building of a playoff team in the offseason to come next time on Sportsfeld Storytime.